Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope you all are doing good. Me, I just got done blowing a bunch of leaves and mulching them up into basically dust. So if you see any leaves in my beard, it's all good. I'm just trying to set a new fashion statement. The leaves in your beard and hair and mouth camo pattern. Ooh, I should actually patent that. See? That could be my success in life. Anyways, look at the title here. It's going to be funny for the people that just read the title. No, I'm actually serious. There's a whole sector now of people on YouTube. They only read the title. You can put something in the title. Within the first minute, you can address your opinion on the topic. But they literally only read the title. So I'll probably get a comment from somebody later on that says, 2A Edu? He's admitting he was wrong about the whole Glock switch stuff that we've been covering for a long time on this channel. Because look, I wouldn't just cover Glock for a month and a half, but this is a big deal what's going on right now. We're in the midst of a sea change, and it's a whole domino effect. But here's the deal. Just because I'm such a nice guy, I'm going to bury the lead for a few minutes, and I'm going to tell you all when I get around to it in a bit whether I was wrong about the Glock switch. Now, here's the thing. That's kind of vague, isn't it? Yeah, it's a very leading title. But, you just got to have some fun on a Friday night, and shout out to all of you watching on replay. But I've been predicting stuff that was going to happen with this, and the slippery slope it was going to lead to, for the better part of 2 months. And you know what's been happening every week? Like, you literally can't even make this up. Within sometimes days, sometimes hours, sometimes essentially minutes of me getting done with my live stream, the stuff I speculated on ends up coming true. Now, here's the deal. I'm a humble man. I'm not Nostradamus or whoever, but so I don't like to brag. I don't like to be like, I was right again, and I was right again, and I was right again. So instead, we're just going to ask the question about my latest prediction. Now, let's go back. I said, well, look, with what Glock's doing, capitulating to Newsom of California, all these other liberal states, all these anti-American communist states, it's going to lead to a slippery slope, and they'll be coming after other guns. You guys remember that, right? Shout out to all my regulars who either watch live every week. Good to see you all, by the way. And all of you who watch on replay, I hope to see some of you in the comments. You guys remember that? Also, here on this channel, we called out Glock for calling for gun control. Because, again, that's a very slippery slope. And we've seen in decades past, quite frankly, in centuries past, if you remember back in 1993. Does anyone remember 1993? If not, that's okay. I'm here. That's why it's called the 2A Edu channel. You had people like Bill Ruger, quite frankly, talking Congress into the 10-round magazine limit. See, when gun manufacturers call for gun control, and they should be fighting for the Second Amendment because their whole business depends on it. Without a Second Amendment, you can't buy their stupid gun, right? But yet here we are. And when a gun company calls for gun control, it leads to all these problems. It leads to all of this. It leads to all of this that I've been worried about ever since this whole Glock thing started, this debacle. And everything you've been worried about. Of course, it's all been coming true. It's always comes true. Because here's the deal, man. I've been noticing this more and more in my life the older I get. And I also learned from the Bible, which I believe is where you get true wisdom from. There's nothing new under the sun. The more things change, the more they just seem to stay the same, don't they? So we had a major gun company calling for gun control explicitly. They literally wrote a letter. We've covered it on this channel at nauseum. I'm not going to go through it again. Just reminding people, or if anybody's new, welcome. I'm trying to catch you up real quick here. The Oklahoma legislature, Glock said, we want you to ban so-called MCDs. Now, that doesn't just mean the Glock switch. It means much more than that. Just like the Michigan, hopefully not law. Right now, it's just a bill that did pass the Senate that bans so-called bump stocks. But the way it's worded, it probably doesn't even ban bump stocks at all. Although they'll conflate it where it does. They'll conflate it where it bans almost everything. But it does. It will if it becomes law. Hopefully the House doesn't pass it. Because, Gretchen. Told you I'm in a good mood tonight. The governor of Michigan, right? They call her many things. She'll sign it. There's not a gun control bill she wouldn't sign. It bans so many other things other than bump stocks. So they'll say it's the Glock switch ban, but it can ban like almost everything. And that's literally the way this works. And then I said, well, they're going to go after other type pistols like this. This is a slippery slope, and look what they did. They went after Ruger quickly. If you remember, I kept these here for reference. We have long, drawn-out letters and threats from every town. Go back and watch previous episodes if you missed it. We have covered this in detail here. And if you remember at the very end, carbon copy to the Attorney General of Connecticut. Some people call it Connecticut. You decide. Decide what kind of mood you're in. Call these people whatever you want. We're not politically correct here. Trust me. I mean, look, I'm a straight white Christian male. Of course I'm not politically correct. I'm the most condemned stereotype in America. But that's okay. This country needs more people like me and more people like you, by the way. And don't be afraid to say that. But they carbon copied every town. They carbon copied General Tong. Now, this is the Attorney General of Connecticut. So, I predicted it'd be a slippery slope. Check. I predicted they'd go after another gun company, and they did. Ruger. They're still after him now. Ruger responded, by the way. Let's see how hard they fought back. Did anything happen? Does anything happen at all anymore? For all of you that literally think nothing happened, sound off in the chat. I'm not actually joking. It's like everything's going on. Yeah, but it's all just like whatever. I think some of you do know what I'm getting at. So they go after Ruger. All right. They carbon copy the Attorney General. Most people wouldn't have noticed that, but this channel did. See, you guys see what I'm talking about? Nothing ever. There you go. Before you know it, the chat's going to start off. Someone's going to say, give me an N, and then people will put their letters. But no. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. I know some of the circles you boys run in. Now, look. I said it was at the very, very end of the Every Town letter. It's teeny. And it says, carbon copy, Attorney General. I'm like, oh, my gosh. They're calling on General Tong. Now that I say this, you're probably getting hungry. You know what I mean? All the Chinese places right now, there's lines out the door. So order your Chinese food, and we can refresh our memories about General Tong, General Tong's chicken. General Tong chicken to egg roll. So General Tong, he comes out. So we predicted it. I said, guess what? They're going to be going after Ruger. And he did. And that was last week's stream. You know what I mean? And we were talking about the General Tong, and I said, man, this is starting to remind me of some sort of fried chicken with extra sweet sauce on it, I was thinking things like sweet and sour, Szechuan, me love you long time. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I don't really love this so much because these people are communists. And in my opinion, they hate our country, obviously, because they hate the Second Amendment. Well, he went after him. And then we also, so we were right on that prediction too. Okay. And then we went over the biography of General Tong. Boy, that was a good read. We bonded together with this, didn't we? It was just like, I could just imagine us sitting by the campfire. America, right? We were sitting around the campfire. Pillbox Bunker, he was, we're sitting around the campfire, right? What's up, Denny's Plant-Based Journey, Marco Polo, Bill Campers, N8WS, all kinds of good people. I'd love to hang out with you guys in person. Now, look, we were sitting around the fire. Someone was softly strumming their guitar. I said, gather around me, people. I've got a story to tell. And we went over the biography of General Tong. And that was good. But we're not going to do that again because that was last week. Now, if you remember last week's stream, there was another prediction made by this channel and by a lot of you. And I said, guys, look, it's called the Glock V series. V series. Yeah. Can you see how excited I am? This is my look how excited I am about the V series phase. Yeah. The V series is here. Look, it's not even essentially out yet. Some shops have gotten limited inventory here and there. I said, look, essentially before it comes out or the day it comes out, somebody's already going to have a switch for the stupid thing. You remember that prediction? So, as the title says, was I wrong about the Glock switch? I told you guys, I said, by the time we see each other again, this week went by fast, didn't it? By the time we see each other again, somebody's already going to have a switch out. Do you remember that? Now, there was a popular YouTuber, Brandon Herrera. He put out a bounty for it, a reward, whatever. And I said, the switch is essentially already out. Like, they made the switch faster than they could take a picture of it and post it. So let's take a peek here. Let's take a peek here. Now, look, I know. Yeah, this guy has like 10 million subs. Of course, you guys watch the video and you already know the answer, but I had to bury the lead for like 10 minutes. Actually, I was just enjoying seeing you all in the chat and saying what's up and how you guys doing and refreshing people's memory. Like, what's up, Christopher in Ohio? Thanks, man. I appreciate the compliments. And for my friend Stephen Wagner, nice to see you, man. I often see you in the comments to say you were right. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Here's the problem, man. I love to make this stuff up. I love it. What have we here? Can I see this? Oh, man. I mean, I'm not really laughing like I truly think this is funny. I'm just kind of like, ugh. And look, I know it's not just me. When I say like this channel predicted, this channel knew the whole time. I say it that way for a reason. Like, there is no way I'm the only one that knew this. Like, you guys knew this was happening. But we've literally made predictions together every single week here on this channel for like 7 weeks straight. And every single week, it comes true. Now, we're going to find out in a few minutes whether one of my other predictions was true with Ruger. Because remember I said, I saw that attorney they have. Look, nothing personal against her. I don't know her. This is just, in my opinion, I wasn't too impressed by the looks of her, okay? First of all, I'm not too impressed when such a big company has a woman for their chief legal counsel, you know? And then I just saw her. I took one look at her, and I said, I ain't too impressed with this chick. So, am I going to be right on 2 predictions tonight? I don't know. Let's talk about the Glock switch for a minute. Ruger has responded. I've not read it yet. In typical fashion, I like to read these while I'm live. Now, here's the solution, though, because you look at this right now. Now, I'm not an expert, but this definitely appears to be a V series. You can see aft of the sear. That's the downward protruding portion. The way it's oriented, it appears upward, but that's the downward protruding portion of the old striker. You see where it ramps up in the back? See the copper anti-seize? Well, oh my, oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh. Look what's in the back of that. Now that appears to be a switch. Now, I've had this picture for like 5 days now. It's just we stream once a week. So there you go. To answer the question of the title, was I wrong about the Glock switch? No, I was not wrong. Predicted correct yet again. And this pisses me off. I want to be so wrong about this, but I know where this goes. This just keeps going and going and going. Same song, different dance. Same story. Sometimes they change a couple words of the script, but not really. Same trailer, different park. You know what I mean? It's just like, you can take the girl out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the girl. Shout out to all my trailer trash girlfriends out there, by the way. I actually don't even mean that as a put down at all. I'm a very blue-collar guy. I'm just saying, though, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And we have the switch right now. Right here, it's available. So here's the freaking problem. And just remember this, guys. I promise you. I say this every week because I mean it. I've got nothing against my friends that are Glock owners. I've got nothing against my friends that, like, it's their favorite gun. I'm just calling the company out because they called for gun control. That's in one hand. And then they capitulated and came out with this V series, setting a precedent where now it makes it easier to go after every other company. To ban anything with, right now they're after the cruciform. That's what they call it. Then once they can get rid of all of those, then they're going to go for the next manual of arms, the next operation, the next way a gun functions. These people want all of our guns, every last one, and they want gun control. And when we say gun control, the operative word is not gun. That's never been the operative word. The operative word is control. They want to control you. And we talk about General Tong, and it makes me think of Chairman Mao of China, of the Cultural Revolution, the Color Revolution. And we have a cultural revolution in this country right now, obviously. I hope we can save it. I'm trying to be optimistic, but do you guys mind if I'm a little blunt with you right now? I'm not trying to be a doomer. I'm not trying to be a gloomer. I'm really trying to be optimist. Through God, I'm trying to keep the faith, trying to say optimism. But if I can just be blunt for a minute, let me just tell you what I think's the truth. This country's going to hell right now. All right? This country's going to hell in a handbasket. In my opinion, the economy sucks, and I think it's going to get a lot worse. We have Dearbornistan right down the road. It looks like a third world country. Our country's getting full of people from third world countries, and they come over here, and they want to turn this into a third world country. Look, I try to be an idealist, and I'm trying to keep the faith, and I'm trying to stay positive, and I'm trying to be a source of inspiration for you all. But just looking at this switch falls under, well, guess what that falls under? The founding of this country, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And if you were to ban even a switch, if you were to ban even less than that, if you were to even have one gun control law, that would violate the U.S. Constitution. And the U.S. Constitution says therein that it is the supreme law of the land. Look, how can you have a country when we've gone so long without borders? How can you have a country without a rule of law? You guys have seen that the Glock switch is out. Glock capitulated. The switch is already out. They're after Ruger. They're going to be after all the rest. We'll find out in a minute if my suspicions are correct or not, but I don't really have too much hopes of Ruger standing up either, actually. If I bet they're going to line up and see who can suck them off, I mean, capitulate quicker. But think about this. A lawless land where the only people that have to follow the law are the law-abiding citizens? Because think about it. These laws and all laws only affect the law-abiding. These Glock switch bans, these machine gun bans, all of this doesn't affect the gangbanger. You know, they hate this country. They want their reparations. Well, your great granddaddy did something to my great granddaddy. Well, first of all, they don't know if that's true or not. And even if it was, yeah, whatever. I get it. You hate America. You think it sucks. Put them on a boat, send them back to sub-Saharan Africa, wherever they'd like. The weather's lovely. They're happy. I'm happy. They can leave. Whoever doesn't like it here can just leave. Period. Nigeria welcomes you. Congo welcomes you. Wherever it is they want to go. Take your pick. I can't tell the difference between any of them anyways. Just go, buy, gone. But these laws only affect the law-abiding. They don't affect the gangbanger. They don't affect the lawless. They don't affect the cartels. They don't affect all these invaders. So I'm trying to keep my chin up, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, what the heck? You've got everyone in the world trying to come in here and turn the United States into a crap hole country. They leave these crap hole countries, they come here and they want to live exactly like they did over there. Complete disregard to law and order. And don't mistake what I'm saying here. I do believe in law and order. I believe law and order and having a civilized society is the only path forward. But when I say law and order, don't conflate. I don't mean the 26,000 plus gun control laws that are throughout these states and the United States federal government. No. That's not law. That's unconstitutional fake laws. When I say we need to have law and order, we need to have the Constitution that shall reign as the supreme law of the land. We need to have the Bill of Rights, who are all prohibitions on government, saying Congress shall not establish, shall not be infringed. It's telling the government everything they're not allowed to do. And don't forget the 10th Amendment. The federal government is supposed to have a very small amount of enumerated powers. What's in the Constitution? That's it. Then the next level that will have more power than the federal government is the states. But they'll actually have very little power too, because the rest of the power, where it's supposed to be held inherently, is in we the people. But the problem is we have so many people from abroad, from everywhere, wanting to come in here. They hate this country. They want to destroy this country. And this is my opinion, but to me, it's obvious. When you leave where you were and you come here and try to make it different, then that doesn't mean you want to be an American. And this should just be so simple. You hate this place. You don't want to be here. Guess what? I don't want you here either. So many of these people, they're rude, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're ignorant. I don't like the way they smell. I mean, I could go on and on and on. It's like, what the heck's the problem here? I don't want you here. You don't want to be here. All you do is complain. People like me, we work our butts off, work ourselves to the bone, taxing no end with a boot on our neck to pay for all these people's free ride that hate us, that don't even want to be here. And that's more of what's going on. I'm sitting here in the United States right now, and I'm like, well, hold on a minute. What does General Tong have to say about the Second Amendment? General Tong's threatening to completely, he's telling them to preserve records in his letter that we read last week. General Tong, and you're thinking, well, dude, come on. What's China have to do with this? Because you know, General Tong is the head cop. He's the chief law enforcement official of supposedly one of these 50 states. Just think about that. General Tong is basically saying, I mean, he's all but said, he's going to go after him and sue him right out of existence. No. Everywhere you turn around, this country's becoming more and more dangerous every day. All these people come in from all these countries. There's just too many people here. Many of these people are not civilized. Many of these people don't have a common moral compass that's compatible with what used to be, and in many cases still is, the moral compass of the United States. So as it becomes more dangerous, more treacherous, makes you more nervous to leave your house, to do whatever it is you're doing. You worry about what these savages might want to do to your white wife. While there's all these things going on, around the same time, they're wanting to come after our guns even more. If this snowball keeps collecting mass and keeps rolling down the hill faster, this whole thing right now could lead to them wanting to ban every semi-automatic pistol that there is. I'm not going to make a prediction and say it's going to go that far right away. I'm scared to make that prediction. But I will say this, if this can't be stopped somewhere, this is where this ends. The other side doesn't just say, well, we've banned enough now, so we'll stop until they're all gone. And I can't believe it. It's such a privilege for foreign companies to be able to conduct business here, isn't it? Isn't that a privilege that they should be grateful for? But they don't respect our Second Amendment. And I've actually had people tell me this, man, and it sucks too. Like, we can have differing opinions on things, but it still doesn't mean that someone's opinion doesn't suck. I've actually had people try to tell me with a straight face, but you have to understand, 2A EDU, Glock doesn't need to be pro-Second Amendment. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. This is the supreme law of the land. They're operating in this country, in my country. I want to have law and order. I want the Second Amendment to actually mean what it says and says what it means. I want the Second Amendment upheld in my country. They're like, no. They're an Austrian company, 2A EDU. They don't have to follow the U.S. Second Amendment. So what are you going on about? Oh, well, if that's the case, then that's real simple. You can get the heck out. Love it or leave it. If there's any foreigners in this country that don't like the Second Amendment, they can leave. It's just that simple. Just get out right now. I don't want you here. The Founding Fathers wouldn't want you here. I believe in the Second Amendment, whether any of these gun companies do or not. And I know a lot of them do. But a lot of them don't. And that's a major, major problem. And it's been a big problem in this country for a long time. Now, here's where I might sound a bit harsh, but I think I'm being perfectly fair. For all of the American citizens who hate this country, for all of the American citizens who don't respect the law of the land, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, we'll say specifically even the Second Amendment right now. If they don't like it, then they can leave too. I'll agree to this. I'm a reasonable person, but 2A EDU, you have to compromise. All right, here's my compromise. Here's my proffer. I'll keep paying the exorbitant tax rates I do right now, so long as a good portion of it goes to all of their boat fare. I was going to say plane ticket. That's too expensive. They can fill up big boats with them. They can sail across the sea and go back to wherever the hell they want to go back to. Or if they've always been here, but the grass is greener on the other side, go for it. I'll help chip in to pay for your boat fare to get you the hell out. And here's like the really cool thing about our community, but here's the really crappy thing about people like us too. Most of my friends are like, dude, I just want to be left alone. Well, me too. That's all I've ever wanted, is to be left alone. Obviously, the Founding Fathers wanted to be left alone from the tyranny of the King of England. This country's always been about wanting to be left alone, but here's the problem. They ain't going to leave you alone. I don't know why. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of motivation here and encouragement to stand up for yourselves for once. It's like, people are like, yeah, but I'm just going to sit here in my little hidey hole and it's like, but here's the problem with that. If you do nothing, then you're just kind of just agreeing by default. And as the whole saying goes, you can't win if you don't play the game. Well, guess what? They all get to play their games. They get to run around like crazy and say how terrible white people are, blah, blah, blah. Oh, thanks. I know I'm far from perfect. I know some people might not even like me, but I think I'm a grade above terrible. But you're never, ever allowed to fight back. You always just have to sit there and take it. They keep taking your guns. They keep trying to take everything, every liberty you have. And then they want to condemn you just for being who you are. Well, I'm not apologizing for any of it anymore. I literally couldn't care less at this point. If a gun company calls for gun control, screw them. If people want to give them a loophole and say they're operating under some foreign law, if that's the case, then they can get out. I'm proud to be white. I think it's the best skin color, and I'm perfectly happy with the way God made me, actually. And that's not hateful at all. The Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And guess what? I wouldn't change that at all. Kind of nervous to read this Ruger letter here. I'm hoping Ruger's fighting back tooth and nail, but I told you a couple weeks ago I don't have the best feeling about this. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I don't have quite such a good feeling about this, though. What do you guys think? I haven't read this letter yet. Ruger has responded. Do you think they're the fighting kind? Do you think they're going to line up behind Glock to slurpity slurp or whatever the heck these people do? I'm trying to keep this family friendly. I don't even want to know what these people do, some of these people out there. Did you see? Trump's DOJ right now as we speak. Breaking news. They're defending the National Firearms Act. Whereas you have organizations that have gotten together under a conglomerate called FRAC and others. PSA is a big part of this, I know. They're saying, well, if there's a $0 tax stamp, then you no longer are collecting a tax. You lose your authority via the NFA. All of these $0 tax stamp items should be deregulated, not NFA items. Trump's DOJ is fighting against the Second Amendment right now. Does Trump know about this? I don't know. If any of you know Trump, tell him. I don't know if he knows, but I'll tell you what, that Pam Blondie, we've talked about her a lot on this channel. Red flag Pam, they call her. When she was sitting at the president's side, urging him and cheerleading him. Do you remember that? This little blonde bimbo, this whatever. Sorry. Shout out to all the blondes out there. I'm just not really a blonde guy, you know. I like brunettes, and that's why I married a beautiful brunette. I know what I want in life, and I go for it. I've never been into blondes. Sorry, Blondie. Shout out to my blonde friends out there. It's all good. But little Miss Blondie sat there. She called for red flag laws years ago in the first Trump administration. And Trump eagerly bobbleheaded and said, I like it. It's called take them quick. Take the guns first, then due process. Boy, Trump messed up bad in his first term on the Second Amendment. Now, to be fair, he's been pretty good this administration, actually. The stuff that he's come out and said, the executive orders he has signed, what he's doing behind closed doors, I don't know. I'm not friends with him, don't know him, don't have any White House access. So, you know, some of you probably do know, like, dude, he's screwing us behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And that's the problem with this channel. Okay? I ragged on Trump for a minute because I called out his red flag, his bump stock ban, other things during his first administration. Well, the ones that say Trump can do no wrong just gave me a thumbs down. So don't forget to leave a thumbs up, guys. But then I came back because I'm just trying to be truthful here, just giving you my honest assessments. I know honesty doesn't get you anywhere. This channel has 11 less subs right now on it than it did 30 days ago, which means if I had shut this bleepity bleep down 30 days ago, this channel would be bigger than it is now. And don't forget that. It's true. I'm being serious. I know some of you guys have apps where you can track channel subs. If I had shut this channel down a month ago, it'd be bigger than it is now. There you go. Well, if you guys are enjoying this stream, luckily for you, I'm not a numbers person, so I'm still here. But then the other half of the people sometimes get mad at me because they're like, whoa, you just said Trump's better on the Second Amendment now. I know. You can't make everybody happy all the time. But no, this does happen to me. Not from all of you, not from most. I'm just saying it happens a lot. I say something bad Trump did, people come after me. I say something good the SOB did, they come after me. Look, I don't believe any person's truly good, okay? You want to know my honest opinion? You know the only person that was truly good? Jesus. He's not in the White House, but he is coming back. He's risen and he's coming back. So I know a lot of you do get encouragement and hope and inspiration from that. And I know some of you don't. So look, is he good? Is he? No. Look, here's the thing though. This Bondi, she's fighting against the Second Amendment right now in court. She's the Attorney General. She wears the pants of the family. She's the man of the house. Repeal the 19th Amendment. Wouldn't have to deal with half of this crap. Get rid of the 19th Amendment. We'd probably be a lot more okay. Attorney General Bondi, sir. No, thanks. Repeal the 19th. Look, here's the thing. I don't know anything about her personally. She might be a wonderful person. She might make a great friendship bread around the holidays. I've heard her fruitcake is to die for. In fact, I've heard when she's done hanging your clothes on the line, they come back in with no wrinkles at all. And I have no doubt. Get out of the White House. Get back in the kitchen where you belong. Repeal the 19th. There you go. I'm being completely blunt on all that. No, I'm not against women. I love women. Okay? But I'm getting sick and tired of all this crap. So we're sitting here. Just think about this. Simultaneously, we have Tong. Okay? And shout out to my friend Jane Locke. Look, I have good friends that are women. I don't hate women. It just seems like when they get in these big power, it just doesn't go right. Okay? Now, simultaneously, we have Tong, okay, for all my American friends, Attorney General Tong of Connecticut, okay. Tong's coming in now. He's going to go after Ruger. They were going after Glock. They bent the knee. Will Ruger bend the knee? We'll find out in a minute. My hopes are not high. Okay, well, come on, dude. That's Tong. Connecticut. Well, look, there's some really good people that live in Connecticut too, though. And that sucks that you have to be under his reign. But hold on, though. Hold on. So hold on. All my Republican friends, let's chime in. Democrat bad, Democrat bad. Because Tong's a Democrat. Hold on. See, this is where I get everyone mad. But no, I'm not getting anybody mad. I think you guys actually get it. But here's the problem, guys. Yeah, Democrats are abhorrent. They're terrible. Demon rats. To my Republican friends, and I do mean this because many of my dear friends are Republicans. Republicans suck too. Not every person, just the Republicans. They suck too, actually. But hold on, 2A EDU, they suck less. Oh, really? Then what's this? I hear that Marjorie Taylor Greene is now resigning from Congress. I haven't been able to confirm this yet. But according to the chat earlier tonight, Marjorie Taylor Greene's resigning. I mean, repeal the 19th, great. But as long as there's going to be women in the Congress, I kind of wanted her there. She seemed at least like a decent person to me. I wonder if somebody threatened her. I wonder what back room she was in under duress. I don't know. I don't know any of this. This is just a guess. But here's the problem. The Republican Attorney General right now is fighting to preserve the National Firearms Act as we speak. The trifecta. the Republican president, the Republican-controlled House, the Republican-controlled Senate could have, on a party line vote, if Republicans truly had our back, if Republicans truly defended the Second Amendment, they could have repealed everything out of the NFA. But wait, 2A EDU, the parliamentarians stopped them. Yeah. Oh, well, that just goes back to how I started this stream. It looks like the more things change, the more they just stay the same. So let me get this straight. Back in the late 1700s, what would be the first Americans, at that time, they were still royal British subjects. But they said, we're sick and tired of all this crap. We're tired of his tax. We're tired of his boot. They didn't want to be ruled by Parliament anymore. So what happens? There's a Revolutionary War. Allegedly, we won. You know, if you would have asked me a few years ago when I was a younger man, I would have been like, of course we won. We won the Revolutionary War. Duh. This is America. Walk around anywhere in America now. You don't know what the hell country you're in. Are you in India? Are you in sub-Saharan Africa? Are you here? Are you there? I mean, you don't even know where you're at anymore. Just walk around and look around. You have no idea where you're at. There's not even a place for you in your own country anymore. But, dude, of course we won the revolution. This is America. We have a Second Amendment. Do we really, though? No, we have almost 30,000 gun control laws. Okay? And we're still being ruled by a parliamentarian, allegedly, right now. Now, here's the thing. They could have overrode the parliamentarian. They could have fired her that quick if they wanted to. Majority Leader Thune. Vice President J.D. Vance, both would have had the authority to go, you're out of here. We're just going to remove all these things from the NFA. But they didn't. But hold on, they could have. Could have they, though? But they didn't. So at the end of the day, we find ourselves right now with Democrat General Tong coming after our guns. We find ourselves with Republican Pam Bondi defending the NFA, and those items should have been repealed during the last budget bill. But no, we're under the rule of a parliamentarian because the Senate parliamentarian said, because remember, the amendment was filed. The amendment was voted on. We're going to remove 3/5 of the NFA. That's what it was supposed to be. Till the 11th hour, the parliamentarian said, no. And we said, but hold on a minute. We have a representative constitutional republic. See, that's what all the educated people like my viewers say, because that's what we are supposed to have. For all the ignorants out there, they say, but our democracy. Yeah, two wolves voting against one sheep on what's for dinner. That turns out well. Never. But the democracy, yeah, ask Greece how that turns out. I mean, you can go on and on with this. So, but I thought Congress makes law. Well, it does, and that's what the Constitution says. But I thought the Constitution says shall not be infringed. Well, that's what it says, and I thought that's what it said too. But at the end of the day, the Congress doesn't actually make the laws. The parliamentarian makes the laws. And I might be being a bit hyperbolic, but actually not really. The way the rubber actually meets the road, those 3/5 of the NFA remained in there with a $0 tax. With a Republican trifecta. Because the parliamentarian said so. Just think about this. The parliamentarian spoke. But hold on, 2A EDU, the courts will save us, and hopefully they do. But do we deserve it? Probably not. If we can't save ourselves, how can we possibly expect the government to save us? Look, you got to take care of yourself first before you can expect the government to come in and help. But I digress. All right, so the third branch of government, judiciary. There's some fighters out there. Like I said, all gun companies are not anti-Second Amendment. Some, in fact, are very pro-Second Amendment. I've been blessed to become good friends with. And I say blessed because he's a really good dude with one of the co-founders of Palmetto State Armory, PSA. Dude, one of the first things Josiah told me when I met him is like, dude, but like the reason we started this company is if we can get enough of these rifles, the AR and others, which they make very affordably, very prolific. If we can get enough of them in people's hands, it'll be impossible to ban them. The more good people with guns, the better. And then it's called putting money where your mouth is. And they've been putting tons of money up, suing against these things, suing to remove these items from the NFA. And them and others, I'm just telling you stories that are a little more intimate to me, because it's like, dude, these guys talk a good talk. And then it's like, whoa, they wrote checks for how much to fight gun control? Now they're walking the walk. Can we judge people's souls? No, I believe that's very sinful. But we can judge the fruit that grows from the tree. We can judge them by their fruits. So there's some companies out there that are really fighting back right now, but fighting against who? Well, against Pam Bondi and the Republican-controlled Department of Justice is who we/they are fighting against. Isn't that just crazy? Isn't it frustrating? Now, here's the thing. Now, what goes on behind scenes, one more time, I don't know. I know some of you guys are good friends with Trump. You're going to say, but 2AE to you, you're wrong. Trump really told her this. I don't know what he says in private conversations. I do know publicly he signed an executive order telling Bondi she shall. Now, she never met the deadline. She's never actually come out with it, but she shall get rid of anything that's possible within the executive branch that's anti-2A, that's against the Second Amendment. That was a pretty bold move for a president to sign. I'm just reporting to you straight as an ace of spades. He did sign that executive order. Pretty darn bold move. Is he behind the scenes whispering to her, saying, not really? I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. But as far as I can see, she's not really paying attention to him too much. Because this latest one's really kind of just... Ugh. But there's been several of these court cases recently, just within this past year when this executive order was signed, where you got the U.S. attorneys, the U.S. Department of Justice, going against the Second Amendment in court. Now, there is a few times they've gone with it. And there are some things they're doing that are better. There's things they're doing that are less worse than the former vice president and Barack Hussein Obama and all of these. Yeah, I know, they're less worse. But is it good enough? No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough that you have awesome people that are donating to these organizations. I'm a member of at least 5, if not 6 gun rights groups. I'm broke as a joke. But a lot of you guys are too. And then you've got some of these awesome companies. And we're not talking like pennies here. We're talking like more money than a lot of us have even seen in our life. There's some really good gun companies out there that are putting money up to try to get stuff repealed from the NFA, which should have happened if we weren't ruled by a parliamentarian. Right, Band Talk? What's happening, man? Barry Hussein Sotaro. Ooh, getting spicy, Red. What's happening, my friend? How you doing, man? I needed that. Barry Hussein Sotaro. Ooh. I mean, did you guys see that Tucker Carlson interview from a couple of years ago where that guy said him and Barry were doing stuff in the back of the car as it was driving around town? I'm going to stop right there. If you guys saw the interview, you know what I'm talking about. These people are, in my opinion, it's pretty obvious. A lot of these people are a little bit light in the loafers. If you know what I mean, I'll just stop right there. Very, very, very family-friendly channel. Some of you that saw that Tucker interview, you know what I'm talking about. That guy that was they were driving around. He was in the back seat with Barry. Yeah. So you've got General Tong against you, obviously. I mean, come on. How well can that work out when General Tong in the United States? How you guys doing tonight? I'm going to read this rigor letter, but how you doing, man? Did you imagine? Like, just think about this. I know most of my viewers are Americans. Shout out to you all. Did you think we'd be talking about General Tong? Like, going after gun companies in the United States? Here's the problem. So, World War II. I don't believe anything, well, not everything, but hardly anything that any of the history books teach about any of these wars. I'm going to give you the public school narrative, but you'll see where I'm heading with this. Pearl Harbor, tragedy. What's considered to be a real low blow. Comes in there while the boys are getting out of church, bombs them. Tragic event. They said, well, what about invading America's homeland? And they said, no. We no do. We no do, because Americans we'll find a gun hiding behind every blade of grass. All right. I think in many ways we lost our country with World War II, with World War I, with the Civil War. Well, when the Whiskey Rebellion was quelled. I mean, listen to George Washington's farewell speech and you'll know what I'm talking about. So we went from these people knew not to come after our people because they'd find a gun hiding behind every blade of grass. Now our people are living under the tyrannical reign of General Tong. General Tong in the United States is coming after your guns. Did you ever think that was, I was about ready to say, did you ever think that'd be possible? But I'm going to modify that. Did you ever even think before? I don't know. I used to think I thought, but the more I keep learning about this stuff, the more I'm like, dude, wow. I guess I didn't used to think about much when I was younger. Here's the thing, though. I've always had good instincts. I remember laying in bed with one of the worst flus I had ever had. I was a teenager. I was still a boy. I remember watching on the news. They kept showing a picture of this guy. He had a little bit longer hair. His name was David Koresh. And he was actually on the phone. You guys remember that? And they were broadcasting. There's women and there's children. And they're driving tanks through walls. And look, he jogged every day into town. The so-called Branch Davidians. By the way, with current state law at the time, his wives actually weren't minors. Not by law. Just remember this. Some of this stuff gets misconstrued. He jogged into town every day. Allegedly, he had machine guns. The government didn't like him and his because they were off the grid. They weren't like everybody else. Was it a terrible cult? I don't know. I wasn't a member of it. Was it a good cult? I don't really like cults, so my disposition would be to say probably not, but I don't know these people. But here's the problem. They didn't pick him up for allegedly having a machine gun when he jogged to town every day. No, that's never enough for these savages. I was literally down sick with the flu, like home from school. Like couldn't go anywhere. I can't remember if it was school or summer sports. I can't remember what I was, but I was home from everything at that time. I can still remember two things. That's about the worst flu I've ever had, and I was just sitting there like too weak to get up from the TV. And all that was going on at that time was Waco, Texas. David Koresh. Dude, they bust into these bunkers where they're hiding. They got all these government guns all around them. Bill Barr was in charge then of all of this stuff. He was in charge as the AG. He also became AG again under Trump, and we talked about that a lot on this channel 5 years ago, actually. And I haven't talked about Waco in a while, but it's like, man, I just knew, as I'm saying, as a teenager, I knew something ain't quite right, man. Because, sure, whatever, you guys can judge me all you want, but dude, I was like a teenager, okay? And I grew up in a conservative family, grew up with lots of wisdom, good values. I really appreciate my childhood, okay? I appreciate the parenting I had. So trust me, I was more alert and aware than a lot of people, but I was still kind of like a kid and kind of like a normie. And I was like, ooh, cult people bad, I'm sure this guy has to be bad or something because the news says he is. Lock him up, put him in jail, I guess. But that isn't what I saw happening. The buildings were on fire. And then they went in there and gassed these. They had the women and children that were hiding. They were hiding from their own government under the barrel of a gun. And they said, we'll gas them out. A lot of people say that's cruel punishment for an animal, but they said, oh, that's where the women and children are. We'll gas them out. Do you remember that? And then they ignite a fire and the gas is flammable. They shot and killed people. They burned women and children alive. And then they started giving all the guys that did it medals and said they were heroes. Roundabout to the same time period, Ruby Ridge happens. And I'm not going to retell that story because I have many times, but that's also an atrocity. A sniper shooting a mother, holding her baby. I surrender. I surrender with a baby. The baby's got nothing to do with this. I mean, it goes on and on. You know, I was talking to kind of just like a normie, if you will, the other day. Like, dude, man, the 90s were just like awesome. Like, nothing bad happened in the 90s. I'm like, you don't remember Waco? You don't remember Ruby Ridge? You don't remember the war, the other war from the other war? Daddy couldn't finish it, so his son come in? I mean, geez, oh, Pete. It's craziness. During the same period of time is when you had companies like Ruger with Bill Ruger at the helm testifying to Senator Dianne Feinstein, the late senator from California that made the public proclamation. She said, if I had the votes, and then she stops and she sighs and she goes, but I just didn't have the votes. But, and then she gets happy again. But if I had the votes, I would have passed the law. Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. Do you guys remember that? This was going on in the times of the Branch Davidians, so-called, Waco, whatever you... She said, if I would have had the votes, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. Like, that's pretty darn blunt. Bill Ruger was cozying up to her, saying 10 rounds is plenty enough. If you can't hit your target within 10 rounds, you need to be better aim. Ba-derp, ba-derp, ba-derp. Right. Because the Second Amendment was always about hunting, right? Wrong. The Second Amendment was never about hunting, moron. Obviously, back then, you know, late 1700s, if you didn't hunt, you didn't eat. Of course, you hunted. No, it was about fighting off a tyrannical government, and very specifically, it was necessary to the security of a free state. That's why the Second Amendment is so powerful, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. It tells you why right there, and that's a beautiful thing, too. The security of a free state? Could you imagine actually living in a free country? No, I actually can't really imagine it. I thought I used to know it, because I get caught in this trap where I'm like, man, I remember when we used to be. And then I remember back, and I'm like, yeah, but I remember there. I remember laying there in bed sick as a dog watching Waco, Texas. I'm like, well, we didn't used to be that free then, though, actually. But no. Being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, Bill Ruger lived to be old, and then he died. And when he no longer owned Ruger, and I didn't see anyone at Ruger calling for gun control that worked there, see, here's the thing. Here's what makes our justice system different. Here's what makes my religion, Christianity, different than some. I do not believe the son should have to face the punishment of his father's sins. Now, so I extend that just the way I look at things like these gun companies. And look, while Bill Ruger was alive, while he was running that company, no, I would not support a company like that. But then he moved on. He died. His sons came out and said, we're very pro-Second Amendment. I don't remember their exact statements, but this ain't our daddy's gun company. Didn't do anything against the Second Amendment. I've been buying Ruger stuff since. Haven't had a problem with him since. He's gone now. I don't punish the kids for their dad's sin, per se. I hope you guys understand the analogy. I don't judge anybody's sins. That's in God's hands, not mine. But to give you the correlation. The jury's still out on Ruger. Will they stand? Will they fall? Will they fight back? Will they cuck out? I don't know, but here's a letter from them. Hell yeah, keep buying guns, America. There are some good gun companies out there, too, that are really in the fight right now. There's my bit of good news for you. I know sometimes this stuff tends to be a bit doom and gloom. There's some good people out there. There's still some good companies left that really are trying to fight this stuff off. So do your research and see who they are. I'm going to read this letter in 1 second, but I am going to read a couple super chats because you guys are my sponsors tonight. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry I got ranting so much. I always like to start off by thanking all of my supporters. So thank you to all of my channel members, which I see a ton of you in the chat tonight. Thank you to those who leave a super chat. I'm going to read them right now. You guys are my sponsors, also my Patreon supporters, and my local supporters, which I also really appreciate. For those of you that like to donate, and it does take less fees out, I do have a Cash App down there in the description, and just thank you all. I didn't do an ad read. You guys watch this lately? You'll watch like an 8-minute Second Amendment video, and the dude does a 2-minute ad read in the beginning, the middle, and the end sometimes. I was trying to watch one earlier, and it was like 10-minute video, and his ad read was 3 minutes of the video. I'm like, what? Like, I get it. Ads, like, I'm totally fine with it. I don't like crony capitalism, but on a legit basis, like, there's strengths to capitalism. I'm not a communist. So they want to do their ad read, they're conducting business. Great. But this one dude's video I watched, it was 2 minutes at the beginning, 3 minutes in the middle, and 2 minutes in the end. The video was 8 minutes long. So just do the quick math. So it's just kind of like, wow. Like, shout out to him. I don't want to make his video illegal. I'm not the government. I'm not going to try to steal his money from him. But I'm like, whoa. 8 minutes minus 2 minus 3 minus 2. Yeah, there was 1 minute of content in an 8-minute video because his ad reads were 7 minutes. So there you go. You guys don't have to listen to those when you watch this channel. Now, that was an extreme example, and I get it. Their ad reads is whatever, but come on now. Come on. You're going to read ads. And these weren't just like, hey, guys, check out my links, check out my deals, which I'm going to encourage you guys to check out my deals over on Locals and X. Awesome deals, stuff you should definitely want to look at. That's different. No, it's like such and such gold, such and such debt consolidation, such and such. And I'm just like, Ron Wayne Official left a member super chat, channel member for 36 months. Awesome, man. Thank you for being a supporter for so long. And thanks for being my friend and for hanging out. He says, came for the Krag, stayed for everything else. That Krag Jorgensen is a pretty cool rifle, isn't it, Ron? I think we both have pretty good taste, don't we? Colin L., what's happening, man? And thank you for the super chat. He says, are you going to bow down and take this new religion in Michigan until you load your tool? I think that's a question for everybody. Now, look, we're homeschooling my daughter this year. She's not going to take part in this perverted sex ed that they're putting into the health classes. She ain't going to do it. I mean, it's like literally like, it's just like I said, dude, this country's falling apart in so many ways right now. General Tong's coming after our guns. Bondi and her cronies are defending the NFA at the same exact time. It's like, excuse me. I just want my dang country back. Tired of all these people. Look at my home state of Michigan, my state. And look, there's lots of good people that live here. I'm friends with a lot of you guys that are hanging out right now. Man, there's some awfully good people here, but there's some awfully not so good people here. Now, obviously, I've come up short because remember what the Declaration says, it is your right. It is your duty when the government becomes contrary to your natural God-given rights, which includes keeping and bearing arms. It's your right and it's your duty to throw off such tyrannical government and to institute a new government that to them, it says, in other words, you will be most likely to affect your safety and happiness. I failed at that duty. So's everybody. Pass another gun control. Oh, shucks. That sucks. I don't know where my line in the sand is. I guess there is no line in the sand. We just all suck. No, but here's the thing, man. When it comes to our children, come hell or high water, I ain't letting my daughter get indoctrinated in some school by a pervert. That ain't going to happen. Michigan's doing stuff right now that, in my opinion, is atrocious as being polite. I believe it's sinful. I believe it's immoral. And it's even things worse than that. Those of you that live in this state might know what I'm talking about, but they've just passed this new, it's a health class. No. You perverts can stay the hell away from my daughter. You ain't getting near her. She's homeschooled. My mom helps out with it. My dad's there, and although he may not teach, he's an important part of it. But her main teacher is my wife. She's smart. She's doing a good job. She's trying her hardest. And I don't have to worry about my daughter being in one of these schools. And look, the school she went to before that isn't that way either. But when it comes down to these public school curriculums, no. It's just going to be unacceptable. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look into it. It's a big deal. And everyone in this country should be looking at it. Just like I don't live in Connecticut, but I still think this is insane what General Tong is doing. Just the fact that we have a General Tong in the United States, that's a big problem. But then we've got in Michigan, these perverts. Mandatory health class. Yeah. And they want to teach them how to stick a whatever up there, whatever, and don't get near my daughter, pal. You know what I mean? That's literally what it comes down to at a certain point. You're going to stick this, and no, you're not actually. No, that's just not okay. The state of Michigan. Oh, this state's going to hell, guys. It's so atrocious. Colin out with another super chat. Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it, man. And he says, please mention the Michigan tax. We shouldn't have to pay for property we own. I completely agree. And another way to say what you're saying is we should actually be able to own our property. That's one thing that you have in a civilized country is being able to own property. This country wasn't developed on all these taxes. This is all a fallacy that we've gotten used to, actually. No, you're just a long-term renter from the state. That's what property tax means. Oh, you own your property. They'll take it from you if you don't pay the tax. So do you really own? It sucks. Yeah, we shouldn't pay tax on property we own. And I think you're going to agree with me, Colin. In other words, we should be able to actually own property if we pay for it. And I believe usury is a sin too. And these interest rates are literally criminal and immoral at this point. And that's another thing that really sucks in this country right now. Colin L with another super chat. Well, thank you, Colin. He says, Jesus would be against property tax. Look, I will say this. The way our current structure is set up in this country, I think are generally more immoral than they are moral at this point. I don't believe a lot of the things that this country is doing right now and the way they're ruling over us, I don't believe is parallel at the very least, but I definitely don't think that it's in concert with Christianity either. Would Jesus be for or against property tax? That's actually a complex subject that we may have to wait for another night. But I will agree there's many, many immoral things going on in this country. But there is the give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And that might have something to do with this topic. But I do need to read this letter in 1 minute. And that could be a very in-depth. But I do agree with you in the principle that, yeah, complete lack of morality in this country. From the top down. And there's some real good people down below. There's still some of us that are trying to do a good job in the peasant class, you know? A BBQ King, Barbecue King, what's happening? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. He says, stop paying taxes and cause real government shutdown. Look, I can't advocate for illegal acts publicly on YouTube. However, I will not disagree with your sentiment, good sir. Yes. So some of you guys do agree with me. Usury is a sin. No, it like really is. It defies, like, it's just such an evil thing. And it's sad too, man. Like, I was out blowing leaves all day, mulching them up. Got paid from a customer. That's going to cover a bill that's due in a few days. Hopefully I can get my next job done to pay for a bill that's due a few days after that. Man, I know what a lot of people are going through right now. It is not good. People are literally using extended pay to buy their dinner in some cases, man. Now, I know you're good with your money, Red. You're very smart, actually. You're a very smart finance type guy. I don't really know quite what to call it, but I've heard you talk enough about these topics. But look, there's so many people out here that people are just, I don't even know what else I can say. I kind of like started off with the epitome of it. People are buying a DoorDash meal and putting it on extended pay right now. I've literally heard some people talking about it in real life. Was literally talking to a person the other day and they're like, man, hungry. Yeah, it happens. They live by themselves, you know. They don't have a wife. They don't live with mom. So they're just kind of doing what bachelors do, fending for themselves, a lot of fast food, stuff you can kind of nuke real quick. And they're like, man, the ramen's just getting to be too much. And then wanted to go to Taco Bell. Don't have a car that runs. They're poor. When you get really poor, you actually get ripped off and spend more than everybody else because once you get in that cycle, you're in the cycle. So they had to get it DoorDashed, right? Like they have a car, it's just like broke down right now or whatever. They're not driving at the moment. So they did the DoorDash and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, I could afford like a bean burrito, but like I wanted just a little bit more than that because I kind of like wanted a full meal and had worked hard that week and was waiting for their paycheck to come in, check to check, day to day. You know what I mean? And then he told me, he's like, well, what I really wanted to eat from Taco Bell because I was hungry is like $12. And that's not being a glutton by any means. Like fast food's expensive. And I'm like, well, what's going on, dude? Do you need like $5? He's like, no, dude, I'm good. I'm getting paid. Like, I think it was the next day or whatever. And he's like, no, dude, I did stretch pay. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, dude, I have to pay 4 installments of $5. And I'm like, so you didn't have $12. So now you have to pay $5 4 times. And he's like, yeah, but I have $5 4 times, but I didn't have $12. And I'm like, dude, just spent $20 for his $12 meal. Just to know that's even going on in this country right now is literally insane. Not even possible. Shout out to your square foot of property in Ireland. Totally not a scam, right? Rescue Nut, channel member, and a super chat. Thank you for the support, Rescue Nut. I appreciate it. Beverage refill, sir. Well, thank you. My black cherry juice that I reconstitute from concentrate is almost empty. So now that I know our boy Rescue Nut has me covered, now, look, I'm as guilty as anybody. The guy I know that kind of splurged with $12 in Taco Bell that he really couldn't quite afford, but he was hungry. Look, I'm broke too, but now that I just got sponsored with a $5 super chat, I can kind of guzzle this stuff like a glutton, knowing my refill is already paid for. See? This is good. This is literally like pure black cherry juice concentrate. It's actually not cheap, but by me making it myself, it's like 1,000 times cheaper than if you bought it at one of these foo-foo type stores that I definitely can't afford to. All right, let's see what Ruger has to say here. What do you think, Mateo? What do you think Ruger had to say? Let's see here. We'll let Mateo predict this one. I haven't read this yet. So General Tong is after. Dude, I want some General Tong chicken now. I wonder if that Oriental joint's still open down the road. Ooh, I'd have to end the stream right now and call them. They close at 11. What do you guys want me to do? Do you want me to read this letter and hang out for like maybe another half hour? Or should I end it right now so I can go order some General Tong? I'm going to give you guys, I know we're on a 30-second delay. Dude, I could literally like bail on all my friends and just like hang up this stream and still order some General Tong to go. General Tong, these guys. I never really cared much for these guys hanging out on here anyways. Dude, I want some General Tong. You know what I mean? Nah, I like you guys. I'm going to hang out with you guys just because Red said, I like the stream. All right, I like you too, man. Now, we'll hang out for a minute. Here's the problem, dude. I don't think they sell General Tong down the road. See, this guy's trying to get rid of me. Ferocious Kid too. Thanks, man. I thought we were starting to become good buds. Huh. Trying to get rid of me. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just make a call and say, I would like dinner combo, General Tong. All right. Dude, I don't have money to buy General Tong. Dude, do you know how much General Tong costs? No, not General Sao. No. This is General Tong. Look, right here. We're going to read this in 1 second, guys. Look. No, like, I can't even make this up. This is General Tong. Do you guys remember this? For whoever wasn't watching last week. Because I read these letters, right? Live for the first time, so you get my natural reaction. Mateo says we can anticipate like the hot breaking news, and Mateo says this is going to be a real barn burner. So we're going to read it in 1 second. But do you remember this? So we read about the Attorney General last week, General Tong, and then I'm like, well, hold on a minute. Let's read his biography. And we did, and we bonded over it, and we're all good friends now since. Look, if you come out alive from something like this, you're going to be good friends. So I'm going through, and we made the joke halfway through. And I'm like, why does this remind me of Chinese food, General Tong? And then I could barely read it with a straight face. Look, I'm going to read one sentence of his biography. This is General Tong. He's coming after the Ruger. Ruger's responding to General Tong. And look, I didn't read it. Going through. Look, he favors immigrants. He favors minorities. He favors the LGBTQ plus. He's fighting for everybody, but he hates you. Don't forget that. And I get to the point where I'm like, man, this is just reminding me of Chinese food. Now go over on my X. There's good deals over there, and you're going to see Ferocious Kitsu had reacted in real time. So go give 2AEDU on X a follow. If you're already following me, go give your boy Ferocious Kitsu a follow. Because right there, like you can't even make this up. While I was live, he posted a picture, and his cat was in big, big trouble with us talking about all this Chinese food. The cat was pretty much a goner, but all of a sudden the cat came up armed with an AK. No, go look at it. You'll see what I mean. Just scroll back in my feed, about a week, I guess it'd be. You'll find it. You'll see what's going on around here, how me and my boys roll. The cat said, meow, comes up with an AK. So here's the thing, and then we're going to read this, but we have to set the stage. Tong is the oldest of 5 children and grew up working side by side with his immigrant parents and their families' Chinese restaurant. That was the 12th prediction. Like, I almost forgot. Not only did I make the prediction of this and that, and I wasn't wrong about the Switch at all. It's already out. If you remember, I predicted halfway through this letter I said, this General Tong's, Januar Tong, is reminding me a little bit of Chinese food. And then, right, Jane Locke? And then you can't even, you know what I mean? You can't even make this up. I was right again. I'm tired of being right, Jane. Do you know how bad it sucks to be this awesome, Jane? Jane's like, yeah, I know. Jane's like, dude, I'm even a little bit cooler than you, dude. Jane knows exactly what it's like to be way too freaking awesome. That's why she's my friend. Go follow Ferocious Kitsu over on X. You'll see him in my timeline. I reposted his post. It's fun. This is good stuff. We like this. Ruger responds to CT Attorney General lawsuit warning. Now, this is from the Gun Mag, is the name of this publication. When Connecticut Attorney General William Tong warned Sturm, Ruger and Company there might be litigation on the horizon relating to the RXM semi-auto pistol, which allegedly can be illegally altered to fire fully automatic. Whew. The company quickly responded. What's happening, Ended? How's it going, man? Ooh, you guys are getting spicy in the chat. I like my cat sprinkled with a little side of dog. Yes, sir. Thank you, DB Cooper. You're the most awesomest yourself, good sir. As noted by the CT Insider, Ruger's reply was straightforward. Quote, we have a long history of corporate responsibility and manufacturing safe quality products for law-abiding citizens. How's this going so far, guys? Okay? Somebody hold my hand. How's this going? Thank you, Jane. Jane's holding my hand. I just hear these trigger words. Let me keep reading. Is Ruger fighting back? Are they cucking? Hold on. Hold my hand, darling. I'm getting nervous. I just get this vibe from some of these things. My vibe's not good. Breaking news. My vibe's not good, actually. But this is, let me read. We have a long history of corporate responsibility. Okay. That's what the Second Amendment's about. And manufacturing safe. Those would give up an essential liberty for a little bit of safety. Okay, check. Quality products for the law-abiding citizens. I don't remember the law-abiding citizen part of the Second Amendment. Law-abiding citizens here in Connecticut and across the United States. So therefore, corporate responsibility, manufacturing safe, that's good. Quality, that's good. For law-abiding citizens in Connecticut and across the United States. Ruger said, quote, we are disappointed that no one from Attorney General Tong's office made an effort to talk with us in advance of the letter you reference and the related press release. That said, we offered to travel to Hartford to meet with Attorney General Tong. Excuse me. Look, I'm going to read the rest of this in due diligence. I'm already pissed off. This whole Ruger response is going to hell in a handbasket. Like, already. I was suspicious at first. You guys already know me well now. My instincts are good. Excuse me? I expected a gun company. And then look, maybe they're going to turn it around. This is my first time reading this. Raw reaction. I expected a gun company to come back. If it was my gun company, and be like, who the hell do you think you are, General Tong? You can go pound sand. The Second Amendment's the supreme law of the land. No quarter for tyrants. Okay, fine. At the very least, you would think they would have said something like, we are disappointed the Attorney General's trying to ban our gun. Wouldn't you think they'd at least maybe say that? No, they're disappointed that no one from Attorney General Tong's office made an effort to talk to them. Now, we're going to keep reading, but I don't see anywhere like, dude, you got to start off. When you're starting this off, you got to start this stuff off with a bang. You can't be milquetoast with this crap. So maybe the rest of the letter is going to be fabulous. I don't know, but this is not going good so far. They should have said, shall not be infringed, mother bleepity bleep, no quarter for tyrants, up yours. If they couldn't do that, could have you at least said, well, we're a little disappointed that you're trying to ban guns. No, they didn't start off saying that. They said, we are disappointed that he wouldn't talk to us. Ooh, I got to keep reading it. I don't even want to read this stupid thing anymore. I can tell where this is heading. That said, we offer to travel to meet him. Look, here's the deal, man. If your girl's a 10, if your girl's a 9, your prospective girl, look, guys, you're going to have to court her. Now, if she's a 304, no. But here's the thing. I don't find 304s to be attractive. So when I say beautiful, that means on the inside and the outside. If you've got a beautiful woman, you got a chance. Yeah, you have to court her a little bit. You probably should go to her house and pick her up. Take her out on a date. I'm a little old-fashioned when it comes to that. But what if she's a mid-grade? What if she's a 4 and she ain't so beautiful? And it's just some girl that's kind of like, you know, she's just kind of around, let's just say, or she's kind of whatever. And you're like, I'm bored, I guess. Okay? Are you going to bother, like, driving out to pick her up and open the door for her and take her out to eat and have a nice long walk at the beach? No. You're going to say, look, woman, you want some of this? You're going to have to come here. You guys get my analogy to a point, right? So first of all, I think they're already cucking out that they wanted to sit and we're disappointed you wouldn't talk to us, January Tong. Now they're treating him like he's some prom queen or something. They're not even giving him the 304 treatment. They wanted to travel to come to him. We're disappointed you wouldn't let us talk to you when we even offered to come travel to you. Excuse me. What's happening, Mike McClune? Good night, Danny. Take it easy, man. You guys know what I'm getting at, though. It's like the fact that you'd even want to talk to this guy, but they're saying, oh, we're so disappointed you wouldn't talk to us, Chen War Tong. And we were going to come to you. Now, what if she's a solid 2? Hold on, Mateo says. What's happening, Jim? How you doing? What if she's a solid 2? And that's after she does her facial hair removal. Look, you definitely ain't driving across town for a 2. You know what I mean? No, I know, man. I'm old-fashioned. And it's hard to find. Trust me, I get it, guys. All the guys that are disenchanted with a bunch of sucking women in your life, like, I understand that's very prevalent. But if you truly do find one, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder, she's physically good looking, she's beautiful with her mind, she's both, whatever it is that you guys judge her on. If she's a good one, she does deserve a little courting. That is actually part of the laws of nature, actually. But not when she's mid. And you're like, huh, could she make me some nice children someday? I'd hate to see the results. Probably. You don't drive to her. It ain't worth it. These guys wanted to drive. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. Just so you know where my mind's at with all this. TGM, which is the magazine, reached out to Ruger and a spokesman replied via email noting, we are quote, we are proud of our reputation for developing and selling robust, reliable, safe, and lawful products, including the RXM pistol, to our law-abiding customers. Mm-hmm. As our corporate motto states, we are arms makers for responsible citizens. Every time you hear these anti-gunners, actually, these Democrats, all of these saying, for the responsible gun owner, for the law-abiding citizen. Now, look, I do believe in responsibility. I believe in law and order as long as it's the Constitution. We've already discussed my theories on all of that earlier. I believe you should always follow the 4 rules of gun safety. And it's a terrible thing if you were to ever hurt somebody due to malice, just wanton malice, anger, gross negligence. These things are not okay. So don't think I'm refuting these words on their face. These are trigger words. These are buzzwords. These are words the other side uses. I'm going to keep reading this, but this is still, in my opinion, not looking good. To me, their corporate motto should be, shall not be infringed, followed by, come and take it. Our corporate motto states, we are arms makers for responsible citizens. Like I said, they aren't as bad as where they were under Bill Ruger. I'm not sure where they're at now. In a subsequent message, TGM was advised of Ruger President Todd Seyfert's reaction. Quote, as you know, and this is a quote, I guess, this is the president of Ruger they're quoting here. As you know, actions like these target legal manufacturers and owners and not the criminals that are illegally altering their firearms and then further using them in crimes. I agree with that. I said that earlier. That's true. These laws only affect the law-abiding. Criminals don't follow laws. Criminals on the streets, they own machine guns. They actually do get to enjoy the full Second Amendment. It's just people that the law-abiding citizens don't get to enjoy their Second Amendment that was given to them by God. Tong's 5-page letter. So I did agree with that statement from the president. So there you go. He is right on that. Tong's 5-page letter to Sarah Colbert, Ruger vice president. Now, look, I don't know nothing against her personally. I'm not saying anything bad about her as a human. I saw pictures of Miss Sarah Colbert. I wasn't impressed. That's the one I was talking about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Tong's 5-page letter to Sarah Colbert, Ruger vice president, general counsel, and corporate secretary. Now, secretary is a good job for the little lady. I don't know about all the rest. Advised that recently enacted legislation in Connecticut, where Sturm Ruger was founded in the city of Southport in 1949, required that, quote, members of the firearms industry, including Ruger, must enact reasonable controls to prevent the sale or distribution of legal firearms that can easily be converted to illegal firearms. And I do remember reading that excerpt. I definitely remember reading that from last week. In a subsequent paragraph, Tong writes, are you aware, and this is a quote, are you aware, recent reports indicate that a similarly situated manufacturer, Glock Inc., we know all about that, will be announcing the discontinuance of previous pistol models and updated, listen to this is so funny in hindsight here, and updated modifications to new pistol models, this is Glock, which purport to make it more difficult to attach machine gun conversion devices. And then literally days after we made this last prediction on this channel, right here, bam. I mean, that's it right there. That's a V-series. That's the old switcheroo. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That according to Glock purports to make it more difficult. Yeah, right. Oh, I needed a good laugh. I mean, come on. I mean, well, yeah, Jane, but this is so ironic here. I mean, this is a reference to the highly publicized, quote, Glock switch device, which are used by third parties to illegally convert Glock pistols to function as full automatics. Oh. Tong's letter came several days after Everytown for Gun Safety, the Michael Bloomberg-backed gun prohibition lobbying group, sent a letter to Ruger calling on the company to, quote, remove the Ruger RXM from the market unless and until you change the pistol's design. Dude, there's already a switch out for the new design. If only we had predicted this is how this was going to go months ago on this channel. If only they would have listened to you all. We all knew what was going on. Well, virtually all of us. There has been a couple morons running around here. You're wrong, 2AEDU. they'll never be able to put the switch on the V series. Glock didn't actually call for gun control. I'm like, but they literally did. I showed the letter. It was signed by Mr. Guevara. Some people say he's Che Guevara's cousin. Well, yeah, that may be true. However, actually, like, it's all good because Glock's like my favorite and stuff. So, like, just screw off and piss off. Dude, we've had a lot of people like totally spurg out and cringe out, and most of us have kind of been on the same page though, and known what's been going on this whole time. And here's the thing, dude. A lot of like cool dudes in the chat right now are like, dude, this is totally BS what Glock's doing, calling for gun control. A lot of people have my opinion that they've been bending the knee. You guys still own Glocks. You're still carrying them. Like, there's some people who actually are capable of, just realizing, shit, we're in this situation now. And what are you going to do? I'm not a fan of effigies. Burning like effigies of Gaston Glock, not really my thing. Do I support a company that calls for gun control? Hell no. But you all decide what you want to do with that. The letter was signed by Eric Churchwell, head of litigation for Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund. Ruger, along with virtually every other firearms company, has condemned the criminal misuse of firearms. When are these people going to get this through their heads once and for all? When guns are outlawed, only outlaws will own guns. Duh. Sturm Ruger is one of the giants of the firearms industry, having introduced firearms which have become legendary among American shooters and hunters. And its line of handguns includes such icons as the single-action Blackhawk, Super Blackhawk, Bearcat, Single Six. They going to mention anything that's not a FUD gun here? I mean, they're good guns, but come on. Are you going to come back and mention that you make ARs? And, well, let me keep reading. Single Action Blackhawk, Super Blackhawk, Bearcat, Single Six, and it has produced equally iconic rifles, including the #1 single shot, an M77 bolt action hunting rifle, along with the 1022 semi-automatic rimfire rifle. Ooh, we're getting on the edge now. What edgelords they are. Which may be the most popular 22 caliber semi-auto in North America. Look. A lot of people love their 1022. I get it. You love your Blackhawk. I'm saying, though, of all the guns they make, they have to list the most fuddiest ones. No wonder they wanted to have a... They were willing to go all the way to Hartford to have a meeting with the General Tong. As noted by a Ruger spokesperson, the situation is, quote, evolving rapidly. So I guess maybe the RXM might... Well, I hope not. I hope not. They may self-delete their own gun like Glock did. We'll see. This is the end of it. 20 years ago, during the George W. Bush administration, Congress passed the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act in response to a string of lawsuits filed against gun manufacturers over crimes committed by people misusing guns. And unfortunately, they don't abide by that law anymore because we've talked about that recently. So here's the deal. I have no evidence yet that Ruger's going to bend the knee like Glock did. A couple direct quotes here from people high up in the company. I don't like the vibe. I don't like the tone. So if you guys just want my quick take on this, I kind of went through it earlier. They couldn't even say we're disappointed Tong's trying to ban our gun. No, we are disappointed that no one from Attorney General Tong's office made an effort to talk with us. So I guess that's the deal right now. Here's where we're at. We're just going to have to see what happens. Ruger wants to talk to Tong. They eagerly want to talk to Tong, it appears. It appears they're so eager they offer to travel all the way across wherever to meet with him. They pride their reputation on selling robust, reliable, safe, lawful products, including the RXM, to our law-abiding citizens, and their motto states, we are arms makers for responsible citizens. So Unfortunately, there's not as much there as I hoped. I hoped I could have come back and told you Ruger's fighting back. Go team, go Ruger. I was hoping I could have reported that. I'm not seeing that here. I don't have any information right now that leads me to believe they're fighting back. However, to be perfectly fair, I have no reason to believe they're going to ultimately bend the knee. Now, if you want my gut feeling, I think they're going to bend the knee. I have no articulable reason to believe that they are going to bend the knee right now. I have context clues. I can kind of tell by how people talk. I don't like their talk right now. I've kind of had some weird vibes for a while, about this situation with the RXM. So there's two things here. I think they're probably going to bend the knee. That's just my guess. I don't think things are looking too good here. I have no proof of that. So we'll see. I was hoping during their press release or their interview with this journalist, they would have put out a little more. I suspect they're being mum on purpose. We can say this for sure, though. They didn't just come out immediately and say, "Thank you, mister. Can I have another?" So they didn't do that. But they didn't say, "Shall not be infringed, go pound sand." They definitely did not do that either. There's words that on their face here from their response that are okay. And they're good words on their face, but when it comes to the responsible gun owner, the law-abiding citizen, these are key phrases that have entered more of the gun control zeitgeist, actually. So I kind of went over that earlier, but that's kind of my recap. I think it's funny when they're like, "Look, we make all these guns." They only mention guns that usually kind of, and look, I'm not saying you're a FUD if you own these guns. I get it. Like, look, guys, I own a Ruger 1022. And also, like, more AKs than you even want to know, if you know what I mean. And then, like, I own single actions. I own a single action black powder, for example. And probably more ARs than you want to know. So, look, I'm not saying you're a FUD because you own these. Check. But these are FUD guns, though, really, though. I mean, like the number one single shot, the M77 bolt action. Like, look, it's going to be like they're going to ban all the semi-autos first. Then they'll come and ban those. So that's why I call them FUD guns, even though, they all serve their purpose, whatever. I don't want to ban any guns, whether they're FUD or otherwise. I do want to ban FUDs. We should have a FUD ban, like ban the people that are FUDs. So I don't know. Yeah, I understand you, Gerald. I do. I tried to make myself clear. Maybe I didn't, but I do understand what you're saying. That is the law. Laws abiding citizens, they are talking legal talk because that's what is lawful to sell. No, I understand that. Those are also buzzwords, though, that the gun controllers really use a lot. You know what I mean? And here's the problem, Gerald. I can just tell by your comment, you're a law-abiding citizen. Shout out to you. You do know, though, when they outlaw guns, only outlaws will ban guns. So, and don't answer me. This is hypothetical. But, I mean, no, you're right, Gerald. You know what I'm saying. I wasn't asking that question to you, just hypothetically to anybody. I shouldn't have even worded it that way. I didn't mean like, "Gerald, will you give up your gun?" No. It ain't about you personally. I'm just saying like but that is the philosophical question we have here. You know what I'm saying? That is the philosophical question. Like, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will own guns. And at one time in this country, you could walk into your local Woolworth's drugstore or your local Five and Dime and buy yourself a Tommy gun. You didn't even have to do that. You could order from a catalog a Tommy gun right to your house. And we had less crime back then in this country. And the country was still, although there was tumult, it was generally more cohesive. It was generally a much safer place. Even during the Great Depression, as atrocious as that was, it was still a much safer place than, for the most part, America today. So, like, So, like, it was law abiding just to buy a machine gun and have it delivered right to your home. But then now it's like, ooh, people running around with Glock switches. Those are the criminals. Those are the other thans. Those are the bad guys. And I agree. Yes, many bad guys do happen to be criminals. Absolutely. But then the problem is there's lots of good guys that are, I just say good guy as just the general colloquial sense. I told you earlier, I don't believe anybody's truly good, but you know what I'm saying? The good guys out there. Usually when a quote good guy gets caught with something like a machine gun, an otherwise law-abiding citizen, they get nailed 10 times harder than the derelict, than the street criminal, the hood rat, the whatever you want to call it. Like, those ones are usually like, yep, he got caught killing people, 3 people the same day. It's like, oh, 3 at once? No. He killed one at 9 a.m. He was out on cashless bail by noon, killed the second, was out on cashless bail by 3 to kill the third. And now he's coming to try to kill you because it's 9 p.m., the street lights are on, and he's already back out. So for these people that are just like, the type that you think, and those are the type, okay? These are the type that are doing most of the violent crime and the shootings with these Glock switches. Absolutely. It's just a tough thing because now you're like, look, these are bad people. And there is crime statistics out there. You can look into it if you don't believe me. The 13% of the population commits 52% of the violent crime. Now, all this ties in with these switches. But it's like, well, a person in 1930, machine gun to his house. Person buys something, makes something, however acquires it today, and it's the same exact grade person, hypothetically. The one's a big-time felon. The other was just called an American. I bought a machine gun straight to my house. Of course I did. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So it's like, yeah, I know. The lawyers writing this stuff. They have to do whatever. Look, I understand why they're doing it. But it's still back to that thing that I've talked about in the past, and I'm going to conclude with this. Don't you agree, though, guys? It still, like, accepts the premise, though. It does accept the premise. And I'm not saying terrible people should be allowed to run around in the streets and murder people. But here's the problem. These people do what they do because, in my opinion, we don't have a proper justice system. I think politics gets in the way all too often, and we come up with these soft on crime prosecutors, soft on crime city councils, soft on crime police chief, soft on crime sheriff. It goes on and on and on from the bottom all the way up. Soft on crime this, soft on crime that. Well, here's the problem. Too many darn things are illegal in this country. The government needs to stay the hell out of our life. We need to get rid of probably 99% of all the laws on the books actually in this country, because there's like millions and millions of them, and you're breaking like 30 a day, they say, and you don't even know it. And that's if you're a choir boy. And when I say choir boy, I mean if you're singing in the front row of the choir. Other people that aren't so good are breaking hundreds of laws a day on average. No, it's insane. There's way too many laws in this country. We need to abolish almost all of them. But the core fundamental tenets of what it takes for a country to stay together, to have a good moral compass, those types of crimes, since we're talking about Glock switches, it makes me think of things like murder. That's not okay. That's not okay at all. And there needs to be extremely harsh punishments for actual crimes. Like, you're a terrible person, crime. You guys, I think most of you know what I'm talking about. I know we may not all have the same exact religion. We may not exactly have the same exact moral compass. But if you look back at the founding fathers, sure, they were mainly Protestants. There was a deist that was prominent, a deist or two, but most notably, Thomas Jefferson. But he still believed in the Christian moral principles, though, that the country should be founded on. And that's a key to that. And it was like, well, the Catholics, the Protestants, but look, you can go back and forth on these things, and people have, and people do. But then it just comes down to yeah, but certain things like any decent person can kind of just agree on. Like, these are just wrong. Some of the perverted things that certain states, such as my own, are trying to do to the children, that's just wrong. So that's where I'm at with all of this. No, I don't believe someone should run around with a Glock switch or sticks or stones or hands and feet and maliciously murder. Not whatsoever. But 99% of all this crap that's out there now on the books shouldn't even be a crime at all. And oh, well, I guess we wouldn't have to worry about any of it then, right? No, yeah, it's soft on crime to make people feel the crimes and make them want the crime fixed so they think it will help with the gun grab. You absolutely nailed it, Gerald. It was absolutely right. And look, I wasn't arguing with you, man, on what you said earlier. From Ruger's standpoint, they're trying to keep from getting sued out of existence. And look, I hope they don't bend the knee. I really do. I'm optimistic. But I just saw a few things in there where they said, like, I just would have liked it if they would have kind of lashed back a little bit and said, nah, leave me alone, General Tong. You know what I mean? But of course they want to do that. Of course they want to make it where people are crime victims. Then they come running for the government for help. We talked about Operation Fast and Furious just last week on this channel. We've talked about it probably 100 times over the years. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the government on some level, okay? Look, I'm not saying officer friendly. I know some of you guys are cops. Look, I'm not saying everyone would do this, but I believe there are aspects of the government in certain types of law enforcement, maybe the ATF, because they were involved in Fast and Furious, for example, that they would go around and target certain porch dwelling demographics. And as they're going by real slow, just chucking handfuls. How many do you see on the porch? I don't know. Then they tell a joke. Oh, they just smiled. There's 12 on the porch. You know what I'm saying? I can't count. Hurry up and tell a joke. He just smiled. There's 12 of them. All right. 12 Glock switches just land right at their feet. Now, do I have evidence of that? No, I do not. But after what we saw in Fast and Furious, I would not be surprised if later we find out that it is something similar to what I'm talking about. I'm not even joking. Like, it's just brazen, some of the stuff the government's literally done. And Fast and Furious was literally for them to. It was literally for them to try to get the gun crime up via cartels and to try to get more gun control. So the people would start begging for more gun control. Rod says, yep, I'm fine with soft on crime because freedom's illegal in this country too. Was that before or after, like, I define it? Do you agree with my version of it or the current version? Because there is a difference. So I might be reading that out of context and you might be answering somebody else. But if you were, did you hear me what I said, Red? And I'm probably taking this out of context. It's hard when I just literally said we should abolish 99% of the laws on the books, but be extremely harsh on the crimes that are truly crimes. So let me know if we're on the same page there. And we can still disagree and we'll still be friends. But I may have read your thing out of context. Because freedom is illegal in this country. I totally hear you. Okay, we're on the same page. I'll see it later. That's the problem when I just pull it out of context. And trust me, we didn't have a problem. That's my problem when I read it out of context. Now here's the thing, though. And we would debate. And me and my friend Red would debate probably. Me and Ferocious Kitsu. Me and Harry. What's happening, Harry Grimley? Nice to see you, man. Me and Jane. Look, we're all friends. We might debate around the edges of a few things, when it comes to it. But, it's like you kind of start with like, okay, murder. Does that need to be illegal? Yeah. Okay. And then it's like, untold, nasty, immoral things to small children. Yep, that's illegal. All right, everyone just agreed on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do need to have some law and order in this country, but geez, oh Pete's, man, everything's just so illegal nowadays. Everything's so illegal. Well, that's what it comes down to. Good people generally don't need laws, actually. That's really what it comes down to. Good people don't need laws. And criminals generally don't follow laws by their very nature. That's what it comes down to. Take it easy, Vince. I'm going to jump off in just 1 second here. Yeah, morality can't be legislated. It never can. I agree. And that's why I said on like a small little level, look, it ain't going to work. Look, guys, I'm not in politics. I'm not ever running for politics. So I'm never going to be able to make any of this happen. I'm just talking about stuff, right, that I think might be on your minds. But no, I agree with you, Brad. That's why I worded it the way I did. Like, I think like me and this gal and this guy and the other guy and Vince and Harry and, you know, just look at the good people in the chat here. And I know we disagree on many things. Gerald, you know, Bill, we could get together, and I think like we could start agreeing. We ourselves could probably come up with some rule of law that in this country, no, we can't be allowing murder in our country. You know, and that's why I kind of worded it the way I did. But then I guess at a certain point, once you get more than like 5 people living in your country, you do have to have legislators. Then the legislators get powerful, and then power corrupts. And then they get even more powerful than that, and then absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I'm basically just reiterating what I said at the beginning of this stream. The more things change, the more they actually stay the same. There's nothing new under the sun. And these things we're struggling with right now, we've always been struggling with. And it comes down to where it's like, you know, the government gets too big, it gets tyrannical. You break off, you form a new government that to them will seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And then you notice before the first president is even done, George Washington, you know, you could argue with calling the Whiskey Rebellion was already like ruining this country. And then, you know, you look at the very founding fathers talking about how the country was already going to hell. I mean, you look at the Tree of Liberty letter where Thomas Jefferson is talking about how the country's already been going to hell for the last decade before he had even received his first copy of the Constitution. So when you put it into perspective, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, man, like something's going good. Then it just keeps going and going and going, and then it gets really bad, and then somehow it breaks off and becomes good again. Then it just races as fast as it can to become bad again. And that is pretty much how this all works. What's happening, Rosie? Oh, geez, that's not good. Wow, broke your knee on Tuesday. Oh, geez, well, I'll pray for you, and I hope you recover quickly. Ooh, that makes me wince even thinking about that. The knee? That sounds absolutely terrible. Well, speedy recovery to you, Rosie. Thank you for being a channel member too. Jane says locks just keep honest people honest. Yeah. Basically, they slow down the criminal type. Yeah, and I want to rant about the Federalist Papers now for an hour or two. Jim March, channel member, thank you. It says, don't forget to like, y'all. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. But look, like, yeah, no, if men were angels, we'd need no government at all. But men are not angels. So we had to institute a government. Government were angels. We wouldn't need checks and balances, but government are certainly not angels. So we would need both internal and external checks on government. And that's why I sit and rant and rave about this stuff late at night, because we are supposed to be the external check on government, aren't we? I just want to give her a hug right now. Jeez. She's saying it is as worse as you'd think it is. Worse than being in labor. I don't know what that feels like. Oh, I just want to give you a hug. Poor thing. Jeez. Well, everyone that's the praying type, say your prayers for Rosie. I mean, hopefully you're on the mend, but she's probably still in some pain right now. Don't forget about that like button, Ferocious Kitsu. And by the way, before people forget, there's literally more people watching right now than watched my recent Olight video. I actually thought it was a fun video. Here's the problem. YouTube restricted it. Restricted the crap out of it. It's getting no views at all. And look, maybe you guys aren't interested in light videos and whatever, but I did actually try to make it fun. I tried to make it humorous. So if you guys are interested, I literally posted a YouTube short video and a regular long form video yesterday. I was pleasantly surprised. Am pleasantly surprised. And go watch the video, and I will actually post a link right here in the chat. And if you're watching on replay, in the pinned comment, where there's a stellar sale on these right now. Like, really, really good deal. So, yeah, maybe watch that video if you guys didn't know it existed. If you're just not interested in it, like, whatever, okay? It's just, like, wow. But you guys will see what I mean. You want to see something for fun? Go look over on my channel. Look at how many views my last videos have gotten. It's the video section of the page. Right now, you're on the live streaming section. Yeah, YouTube makes it so complicated to even navigate this site. But it's not just like, oh, it didn't get many views. It got like 20 times less views. Like, literally 20 times less views than the average video. And YouTube told me they were doing it too. Like, sent me a love letter and said, you've been restricted. So, yeah. If you don't want to watch the video, but you want to see the deal, check it out there in the chat or the pinned comment after the stream's over. Or go watch the video and check it out. I thought it was pretty cool. I know Mateo left the chat already. I saw him say goodnight, but he kind of talked me into trying one of these out. And look forward to this review coming up soon. Dude, these O sites are awesome. And I finally figured out what it is about these. Because I've been reviewing quite a few of these O sites. And I was like more skeptical than anybody. But then I like kept reviewing them. And 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 reviewing them a little more. And reviewed it a little more. Now, I'm showing you this. Showing that I actually still use the stuff I review, meaning they're still here. Second of all, that when I first found out there was going to be an O site, I was like, yeah, right. What's this hot garbage going to be like? And then the first time I laid my eyes, I'm like, whoa, this looks really good. I don't know why. Don't even know how to explain it, but I did get some more knowledge that's going to be included in this next review, okay? That I am going to tell you guys, like, there's some actually pretty expensive / cool technology in these for what they cost. So this review will be coming out in just the next couple days. And then there's another one still that's sealed, but I can't do the review yet because it was just getting ready to come out. But now it's been delayed. So I've got 2 new different models here. But this one I can talk about right now. And you'll see the video soon. And I really like it. And yeah, man, I actually did. If you guys remember, we did a live stream and gave away one of the O-Site. Was it the SE? It was one of the red dots, and now they have green dots. That's the new revolution here, right? But we did give away one on a live stream to a viewer. So I have definitely done that before. I have not tried the Harbor Freight Streamlight clone. And I wouldn't call it a clone either, though, right? Like, it kind of a knockoff. Is that a little more fair? I call it more of a knockoff. I've not tried it, and I don't know. I've just not tried it. I don't have high hopes for it, to be honest. I didn't have especially high hopes for this either. So far, I do like it. Well, if you watch the video, you'll know. Like my last weapons light from these guys was from literally like 7, 8 years ago. Hadn't tried any since. A friend of mine, along with some viewers, was like, nah, dude, they've actually kind of come a long way. You might really like it. So I spent some time with this one recently, and so far I do like, especially at the current price right now, for sure. Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Gerald. He's like, 182QK. FTW is like, well, knockoff. Well, yeah. I mean, no, I don't know about it either. Maybe someone can tell you. Maybe somebody does know about it, okay? See, now all the fans are coming right in. There you go. Damian Christ says the Harbor Freight Light is great for the price. Okay. Barney Brady. What's happening, Barney? Thanks for being a channel member. He says it's pretty much a clone. Pretty good for the money. Okay. Clone of what though, right? Because it's like the Harbor Freight, the Streamlight. Here's my little wrench in y'all spokes. You do know there's like dozens and dozens of Streamlights. So if I knew which one it was a clone of, maybe I would know. It's not a clone, exact clone of a couple of the Streamlights I own. I can assure you of that. So maybe that's where we're having a little bit of a disconnect. Because I just kind of realized what happened here. Somebody's like, the Harbor Freight clone of the Streamlight. It's like, well, not mine though. Like, no, like not the Streamlights I have. It's not. Well, it's a little closer to one of the models. I have several models of Streamlights. I'll just leave it at that. So there you go. Here's the crazy part, guys. For all of the pours out there, this is actually cheaper than the Harbor Freight, or about the same price. We'll say essentially the same. And it depends if you have Prime on Amazon, or maybe you can still get free shipping. It just comes slower. I think you can still get free. It'll just come slower. But right now with that Amazon link here, I'll post it again, okay? When I say there's a good deal on this, it's like Harbor Freight price is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think this one's 55 or 54 maybe. And then the FTE, last time I checked, this was earlier today, so it could have changed. You know how prices fluctuate on Amazon especially, but with that Amazon link right there, I think it was like $50 or $51 for the FTE and 54 for this one. If it went up a couple bucks, I'm not trying to lie to you. But yeah, we are basically talking Harbor Freight price right now. Look, if I had to pick, I'm probably more of a Streamlight guy per se. I'll have to have this a little longer, put some rounds through it, things like this, before I'll be able to, I guess, trust it 100%. I'm just giving you, well, I did a whole 30-minute review on it. So, and I did try to have some fun in the review. So definitely go check that out if you want more information. J-Flow says Attack of the Clones. I know. Now, I think I know the Streamlight model you guys are saying it's kind of a clone of. It's just I had a different Streamlight in my head right now. You know, I'm like, well, the TLR7, it's not, doesn't really look like that one too much. Look, I have iron sights on all kinds of stuff too. To be honest with you guys, my main passion is mill serps, okay, and I like to keep those original. Some have period correct, or country of origin, period military surplus optics on them. Like my G3 variant over there has an actual pretty rare German scope on it. Like the scope's probably worth more than the rifle. You know how that stuff. I got that thing for a steal years ago. That's a whole nother story. I bought that scope surplus for like really cheap, and well, military scopes can go up in price. Yeah, the Red Sandy was already fully kitted when the O-Sight came out. Now, I'm going to give a review of this, and then I might do a follow-up video, just a separate one, because some people like to nerd out, some don't. There's another topic that I just found out about these that I can nerd out on even a bit more. So maybe 2 videos coming up soon about O-Sight. A review of this, and then, no, like this has like kind of a state-of-the-art technology in there that I did not know it did. I didn't even really know about it. And then I kind of did some more research, and I'm like, whoa, no wonder these look so good. Like, wow. Yeah, since you like O-Sight, Red, check out that Amazon link I dropped. If you need another light, I'm sure you probably don't need one, but if you did, you might be pleasantly surprised at the price right now. Quite the illuminating video. Nice. I saw Jane's Garrisar Fear 116. That was pretty cool. I liked that. I mean, I haven't got a chance to shoot it or anything, but I was over to her house helping her with a couple odds and ends a couple weeks back, and she showed me that shotgun. That was one of those deals I had posted on Locals, by the way. So make sure you guys are checking out my Locals and X deals for sure. Dude, here's the thing, Red. You're like kind of trying to make me bury. Ah, man, you're making me scoot my own video. It's late. There's really no one watching anymore. They'll still watch the video. Dude, there's technology in these that virtually gets rid of the starburst with astigmatism. Talk more to Mateo next week about this topic when you see him in the chat, Red. The type of lens they use on these. They've always been using the lens. I just didn't know what it was till I saw it like kind of discreetly written, and I'm like, what's this? I go research it, and I'm like, oh. So if you have bad starburst with some, now there's ways around it. Not all. If you have a real severe astigmatism, you can still get it. But the technology using these O-sights, and I'm not saying just in O-sights, just the technology period that they're utilizing. It's just usually you have to spend $500 to $1,000 for something utilizing the lens technology, okay? Eliminates the starburst for astigmatism for many people. Another category of people, it reduces it. And then I guess if it's really, really bad, then you're just SOL. I wish you... Yeah, it's late tonight, Red. I'm working quite a bit this week. If you want to shoot me a text later in this week, man, and you want to talk on the phone for a minute or something, I can talk to you about it. Or, you know, I don't know if you have Mateo's phone number. Mateo struggles with astigmatism. I'm just going to stop because I'm not an O-sight salesman. You might seriously want to think about one of these. There's different reticles out there. You know, there's the enclosed, fully enclosed for the K or the RMSC footprint. There's the larger, like here with the X, you know, RMR, but all of them have the same lens technology. And Mateo has like a moderate astigmatism. You know what I'm saying? He has a moderate astigmatism and it just went away. And here I am. You're going to see this in the video. I should just shut up. No one will watch this video either, my next video either. But there was just something about it. And I've told you guys this in my different O-sight videos. Go back and watch them if you guys are new. I'm just like, there's just something about this. It just looks good. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks good. And it just looks better than my Holosun. And it just looks better than this other one. I don't know why. I don't know how they pulled it off. It's just like the reticle's clear. The glass is clear. Any of you that have heard my videos on these, that's the thing I just keep repeating. Somehow the glass is just so clear. The reticle is so clear. I have a very slight astigmatism. I didn't a few years ago, but it's starting to set in. With this, I don't have it. And then I just saw this little cliff note here as I was reading through the specs for the video, and I'm like, what's this? Because they're not even doing a good job marketing it. Enhances durability and protection while ensuring consistent critical quality or optical quality. I'm like, okay, whatever. Here, Red, I'm going to give you a teaser. I'm not supposed to show this because I'm scooping my own video. Right here, look this up, Red. I know you like to study late at night like I do. Look up right behind number 4 there. Why can I not get this to focus? Come on. There you go, right there. Right after 4. See that type of lens? Look into it. I got super nerdy. I was on the search engine. I was looking at different like scientific charts that show the way light refracts. And then I read, but no, if you search that topic when it comes to optics, especially, look it up when it comes to astigmatism, do some research. There's just something to it. And then I do some more research and I'm like, well, how come I didn't know about this? And it's usually like $500 plus. And even a lot of those don't have it. But usually it's 500 minimum, if not even a lot more than that, before they start to utilize that technology. I have no idea how they were able to get that into these with like, because here's the deal. I know I'm saying goodnight 1 second, guys. For those of you that had to go to bed or you're bored, you're already gone. Like this, when it came out, was on sale for like 125. It also, all of these have that type of lens. Don't ask me how they do it, but they do. And one other thing, one more scoop from my video that's coming out. Currently made in China. That's where most optics are made. However, OSIGHT and OLED are like sister companies, but they're not exactly like 100% the same, if you will. I don't know how their legal documents are structured, but I will tell you this. These are designed and tested in America, and they have been. So the actual OSIGHT team, they're located in or around Phoenix, Arizona. So designed, engineered, and tested like the product development teams in America. And I don't have an exact date for you, but I was made aware that their goal, and from what I understand soon, they're going to be moving the manufacturing from the OSIGHT over to the US. So this is like, how do I want to word this? This is already like a pseudo-American product-ish. I know, but the times we live in, for those that watch my light video, I'm like, watch, okay, iPhone user. It's funny, some dude will be on his iPhone. China, 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 screw you. I'm like, not on your iPhone there, bro. But no, these actually are already designed, engineered, and tested here with the whole OSIGHT team. And I don't have a date yet, so I'll just leave it as what I heard. Soon, they're going to try to get these to be, or they say they're going to, is actually how it was worded to me, have these made in the US. So we'll see. You're right, Ferocious Kitsu, but that actually has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, though. I'm not saying like the red dot was made here and then China cloned it. I'm just saying this company, they design and engineer and test and do product development in America. And they're working on, might be a way to word it, getting them actually made here. But it doesn't matter. People are going to be people when it comes to these topics. I totally get it. A lot of people, they trust me, I hear it all. But two-way EDU, buy an America optic like HoloSun. I'm like, yeah, piss off, retard. You have no idea. You know what I mean? People say this to me. I own HoloSuns too. Then the next person goes, but two-way EDU, did you call me a retard because I own a HoloSun? No, I didn't. I'm just saying, a person's a tard if they say, don't buy an OSIGHT, buy a HoloSun, America. That's retarded. So. Some of you guys might not be optics people, but the joke is HoloSun is extremely Chinese. Like they're all made there, you know. That's the joke. But no, I've had that happen a lot. Me and my buddy were just joking about that a couple weeks ago. There was this whole forum outside of YouTube, just one of the gum forums. And these people were just going off like, you can't trust your life with Chinese junk like this. Man up and buy an American product like a HoloSun. And I'm like, oh, geez, oh, beats. I can't show you my HoloSun stuff right now because, well, it would violate the terms of service on this site that we're on at the moment. You know what I mean? That's all. No, there is some American-made optics still. There really are. It was just funny. And it's probably more of an inside joke. Maybe some of you guys have seen it online. I don't know. There's just this thing online where the HoloSun guys will claim to be like more American than the other Chinese. It's just whatever it is. Good night. Good night, Mike McClune. Take it easy, man. Good night, Ferocious Kitsu. Good night, 182. Good night, Rosie. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. If you want to just wait a few days, Rosie, you can you've probably maybe seen some of my O-site reviews or not. Watch my next video I put out on this. I might dedicate some of the time of that review to the astigmatism topic and the type of lens it uses. So, I'll try to get you a little more information on that before you make your decision. I'm not saying just run out and buy one right now. It was just for me, since I'm like a nerd. I'm like, what's up with this lens they use? And I'm like, oh, it's actually like a totally different technology than much of the status quo. Mike McClune got a package in the mail today from Gideon Optics. Going to open it when I get home. Well, cool. I hope you enjoy it. I do like their stuff as well. Good night, Ace Diamond. Thank you for being a channel member. And thank you to all of you who have been hanging out tonight. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But if I did, sorry. Good night, Paul. Good night, Pillbox. Harry. Good night, Jim. He says, like my Shake Awake Hollow Sun. Yeah, Shake Awake here. Like I said, I just can't hold up my Hollow Suns right now. But I did a whole comparison of the Hollow Sun versus the O-Site K. And I at the end, I said, I like the Hollow Sun, and I still do. I said, there's just something clearer about the O-Site. So when I was doing my research on the type of lens the O-Site's using, I researched what type of lens the Hollow Sun's using, and it's what I would suspect. They were using more of the conventional lens, and O-Site is using just a different technology of lens. And it was just, if you can't tell, I'm all giddy about it, because just recently, like yesterday or the day before, I had an epiphany, again, while researching for this upcoming review. I'm like, that's why these things just look so good to me. And I just thought it was really cool. And I don't know. I'm just like that. All right. I will see you all soon. I will have links. The Herald, if you're talking about the O-Site, I don't know how much of this I can share on YouTube. I do have a link and a code for there. I will be including it when I post this review in a couple days. If you're asking about the light, you can get that off of Amazon right here. I got kicked out of the Amazon affiliate program, but this very specific link that I just shared, supposedly I'll get a little bit of credit if you use that to buy an O-Light. In full disclosure, I don't know. They don't pay me a penny to review this stuff, but I might get commission if somebody uses that to buy the light. So if you're going to buy a light, please use my link. If you're not going to buy a light, don't buy a freaking light. Dolly Madison's dad, I have the same problem. I find the green dot is a little better. Yeah, and this is my first time. I've not opened it. I have to crack down and get this review done in the next couple of days for you all. I've not looked through an O-Site green dot yet. They just came out, and it's still shrink wrapped, so I don't know. I'm probably going to like it if I had to guess, because I do have green dots in other optics. We will just have to see. If you guys go over to my locals, you'll see I have pinned posts. I always just pin my last few live streams, then I post deals over there every day. I'm right at the top, when you log into my locals community, you'll see the post. I have links I put in for my live streams, and that's where you'll find my O-Light/O-Site coupon code for their site. If that helps you a little bit. Good night, Dale. And with that, I am out of here, guys. And then I post tons of deals over on X too, Twitter X. So make sure you guys follow me there as well. All right. I will see you all again soon. I guess I won't see you till after Thanksgiving. So have a great Thanksgiving. And I'm sure you have a lot to be thankful for. So, hey, we can address things that suck, but try to be grateful and thankful for things that are worth being thankful for, right? And I do encourage you all to have a good weekend and a good week next week. And heck, I might see you, though, on locals or something in the meantime, though. So I might see some of you here before Thanksgiving, but Maybe not here in the live chat, but you will probably see this video on this. So I'll see you in the comment section. All right. Thanks for watching and have a good one. Hey, have a good Thanksgiving, Stephen Wagner. You and your family as well. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And Wafagoe said, keep your stick on the ice. Absolutely.